Hello, my name is Megan Allison, and this is my presentation on family ethnic socialization in multicultural families with biracial children for our class FAS 370. So, family ethnic socialization is the process through which parents communicate with their children about their racial and ethnic background. In a general sense, family ethnic socialization helps children to foster ethnic racial identity formation. It helps to improve socio-emotional and cognitive development, and it helps to combat the negative effects of discrimination. There is fairly extensive research done on family ethnic socialization, though for multicultural families, having biracial children changes this dynamic, and it is less well understood. I have a personal interest in this topic because I myself am biracial. You can see a picture of my family here in the summer of 2003. My dad is Filipino, my mom is white, and I am biracial, Asian white mixed. Growing up biracial affected the way that I see myself and the way that I expected to be perceived and treated in the world. In this presentation, we're going to review two of the strategies of family ethnic socialization and how it would differ from multicultural families with biracial children versus monoracial families. The first strategy of family ethnic socialization is preparing their children for racial profiling. For monoracial parents and children, the parent would prepare their child for social stereotypes, discrimination, and racially driven treatment based on their appearance. The parent would be able to empathize with the child, provide personal stories and examples, and be able to understand its psychological impact. For some monoracial families, such as Black families, preparing children for racial profiling is a means of protecting their child and preparing them for the world. In contrast, biracial children tend to be racially ambiguous, and it can be hard to tell what race they're going to be perceived as in different circumstances. This makes it hard to prepare them for stereotypes and discrimination when their experience has the potential to be vastly different from their parents'. Another complication is that the social perception of these races may be very different. For example, Latina Asian mixed children may be perceived as either race depending on their appearance, and there are very different stereotypes associated with either. It's much harder to prepare the child for the type of social treatment they will receive when there is so much unknown about how they'll be perceived. The second strategy of family ethnic socialization is exposing the child to their family's culture and heritage, teaching them the history, and ensuring that they feel involved in the culture to give them a sense of belonging. For monoracial families, this process is fairly straightforward and may happen naturally through family traditions and cultural practices. Additionally, when the child is exploring their cultural identity, there's only one culture they'll be genetically associated to, and it may be easier for them to identify with it. This is a picture of my family in the Philippines. They are fully Filipino. They've been raised and socialized as Filipino, and they were raised within the culture as well. Their process of finding their racial identity, while still complex and meaningful to them in their own way, was fairly straightforward. For the multicultural family with multiracial children, this becomes more complicated for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there are two or more cultural heritage to explore instead of just one. If the parents have not identified a way of integrating both cultures into their family dynamic, this may be difficult for the biracial families to grasp, and they may not feel fully integrated into one or either culture. Secondly, the parent's script is incredibly influential on how the child adopts their heritage and how they identify with each. For example, the parent may communicate that the child should identify equally with both cultures and not favor one over the other. Or they may posit that the child is strictly mixed race, not fully one or fully the other. Or they may socialize their child as just one race and not the other one. All of these scripts from the parents can result in the child developing feelings of isolation and racial insecurity. It's important for the parents to allow their biracial child to explore their racial and cultural heritage freely. For me, I had a close relationship with my white mom, and I was raised in America, so I identified closely with American culture. My dad did not speak Tagalog to me. He did not cook Filipino cuisine very often, and we upheld very few Filipino traditions within our nuclear family. Outside of exposure to my extended family, which was not very often, I was not given many opportunities to explore Filipino culture until I was an adult and old enough to seek it out myself. This reality that was created by my parents caused me to not feel a strong sense of belonging to Filipino culture, even though I could be identified as mixed race because of my appearance. The unique phenomenon of the biracial child is that the monoracial parent cannot fully relate to their multiracial experience. But family ethnic socialization is still an incredibly important vessel for biracial children to explore their racial and cultural identity. It's also so important for parents to play an active role in racially socializing their children, even and especially for multicultural families with biracial children. Because multiracial individuals are a small but growing demographic, there is still much research to be done for us to fully understand the social and cultural impacts of the family on their development. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy.